In this video, you will learn about Junglealytics, which is a tool for Amazon sellers to gather data from Amazon and put it in a convenient way with nicely made dashboards. This will help you to analyze your data of your business much more conveniently, and ultimately it will save you money and make your company more profitable. So check this demo out, and if you want to try this tool, you'll find information and discount code below in the description. This video is part of the Demo Mondays video series where we invite different software creators to present their tool just like this on the screen. So let's learn about Junglealytics. Hello, Tom. It's nice to have you here. So please tell us more about Junglealytics and how does it help Amazon sellers and what problems does it solve?
Yeah, so Junglealytics is a tool that I built for myself. I've been an Amazon seller since 2014 between two different brands, one with a ton of ASINs. And so I ran into tons of complexity. So largely, Junglealytics is an analytics tool for Amazon sellers. So we take all of the data out of Seller Central, we then clean it up and enable our customers to have fully customizable dashboards that can be filtered to any subset of their catalog. In terms of what problems are we solving? So as anyone who's sold on Amazon before knows, Amazon's reports are incredibly clunky. Combining reports is really difficult. In Excel, you're ending up doing VLOOKUPs and pivot tables to get to one piece of data. And then all of a sudden a day happens and you have to do it all over again to get the next set of data. So I guess basically we're solving that problem first. Secondly, we're solving profit transparency. So understanding how profitable your business is and of what subsegments of your business are making profit and are not making profit, and if that's okay, and measuring, I guess, the profitability of each sub-segment of your business is another thing that I guess we help sellers with. And then within Junglealytics, we like to say what gets measured gets done. And Junglealytics also helps sellers with KPI monitoring and accountability for agencies, brand managers, and everyone at the company. So everyone's swimming in the same direction. Lastly, when a KPI changes within your Amazon business, so sales fall off a cliff, or your ROAS spikes out of control, or anything happens in your business and you notice, currently it's pretty difficult to actually diagnose what's actually happening. So we built Junglealytics so sellers can dive deep into specific areas of their business and discover what's actually going on, so they can spread the goodness around their business and cut off things that aren't going well.
All right. And you're targeting what scale of Amazon sellers?
Yeah, so our customer segment, it doesn't necessarily matter how big you are on Amazon. You have to be selling on Amazon. And ideally, it's customers who want to dive into their data. So they want to understand what's actually happening and optimize their business in any number of different ways. But I guess specifically, they want to grow their profitability. And they're tired of, I guess, tedious tasks and building models in Excel only to rebuild them again and again and again. One other kind of aspect that makes Junglealytics even more useful, but isn't necessarily required, is having more than just a handful of ASINs. So once you get above 5 to 10 ASINs, it gets very difficult to manage between those and kind of understand what's happening on any specific level of your business. And so we look for, or a lot of our customers have more than 5 ASINs, and often they also sell in multiple regions.
And does your software and tool work with different regions of Amazon in Europe, in US?
Yep. So Junglealytics works across the entire Amazon world. So every region is supported with Junglealytics.
All right, perfect. And actually, while Tom is sharing his screen and we will start seeing the demo of Junglealytics, you can check the link below in the description as well, with a special offer, which we'll talk about later. So let's jump to the screen and see what is Junglytics from inside.
Yeah, so Junglytics is at its core a series of dashboards. Every dashboard is fully customizable by the seller, or we also have a few agencies that use Junglytics, and agencies will frequently go in and build dashboards on behalf of their clients to show them various views of their business that they may find interesting. So within Junglytics, you'll see a list of dashboards over here. As a customer, you can have as many dashboards as you want. And a dashboard, in its simplest form, is a title, a set of filters, and then a series of cards. So cards contain data, and we'll go through this in more detail in a kind of a case study of what this dashboard is telling us and why we created this one for this brand. This brand happens to be the brand that I own, a children's clothing brand. And so let's dive in. So this dashboard is a KPI tracker for just our hat products. So we sell two different types of hats. And the way that we created this dashboard is we said, all right, we're going to look at all regions. So all of our regions are checked. And then we're going to filter down to just our sun hat and our bucket hat. And so this dashboard, all of the data that you're seeing here is reflecting just these two product lines. If I were to check one of these boxes, all of the data in this dashboard would change and then be inclusive of the ASINs that that product line contain.
So here you can name also each product with a nickname, right? These are not real names of the product. It would be like
exactly.
nicknames.
So during the setup process, when you sign up for Junglytics, you'll connect your Amazon SP API credentials as well as your Amazon advertising credentials. And then you'll be able to download a catalog and upload alias names for your product titles, as well as COGS data to get accurate profit analytics. So let's walk through like a specific case study of actually what we're doing at Cuddle Club right now with this data on this dashboard. So these hats, if you see them here, they're both summer products. So children's sun hats. You can see the little images here, but we're coming into season right now. So right now, our goals for these products are to rank more effectively for keywords and get more volume, but we don't necessarily care about being super profitable right now. So you can see our top level numbers. We're showing a profit of $600 for the last 30 days, which is actually probably higher than we want it to be. We basically don't want to be making money right now. We want to be increasing our sales number. And the really important one that we want to see kind of trending upwards at this point in time for this business is we want to see organic percent going up. So this number here, when I review this dashboard on a weekly basis, I look for this number and I look to make sure that it's going up. Let's dive in, I guess, a little bit further from the top level metrics, and we can scroll down the dashboard and see some more metrics that we can see about these two product lines. So this is our, I guess, sales comparison card. And I guess within Junglytics, there's a few different card types that you can have. And I guess one of the things that I'll say just about the kind of structure of Junglytics is you can have as many cards as you want on a dashboard. So at the bottom of every dashboard, you can hit this add new card button, which will pop up this modal, which allows you to add another card. If I were to do so, another card would appear at the bottom of the dashboard, and I could fully customize it to whichever metric and I guess use case that I wanted to see. So let's go back up to the top. So we can see our sales comparison. So this is showing during the previous period, so the days between 60 and 30 days ago, we, I guess, had a 28% increase in the last 30 days. So this tells me that we're on the right track. During this time of the year, our sales should be increasing period over period, and they are at a rate of 28%. Similarly, I can go and toggle on and off different time periods and see how our sales are comparing over those time periods. This product was relatively new last year, so it's somewhat unfair to compare a pretty brand new launch product with one that's a bit more mature. So that's why you're seeing such a big increase over last year. Scrolling down, I like to look at I guess, where our profit is coming from. This chart is probably more relevant for a different time of year, like mid-season, where we want to see really where the profit is coming from and if we have any kind of holes in our business. Scrolling down further, this is the first card that we'll look at that has what we like to call card filters on them. So as I mentioned at the beginning, within any dashboard, you can filter by any of these sets. So by region, product line, primary variant, and secondary variant. Additionally, we allow you to filter on any card. So if you come over here to card settings, you can add filters that are different from the filters on any dashboard to any card. So this card is showing only the United States data for the last 90 days. And I changed it to 90 days from 30 days because I wanted to be able to see the tacos trend over a longer period of time. And then we're also only showing it for sponsored product ads. So we filtered out sponsored brand and sponsored display. So this card is showing me that we're heading in the right direction given the time of year we're at. And we're okay with a pretty high tacos number for these two products still, because we're still, it's basically April 1st. It's actually March 30th, but it's right around April 1st. And we try to have these products be profitable and in prime kind of territory for making real profit come May 1st. So we're heading in the right direction with tacos. And I guess we're using Junglelytics to track that over time to make sure that things are heading in the right direction. So this is the one that really where the rubber hits the road for this segment of the business. We really, really care about organic percent, and we really, really care that organic percent during this time of the year specifically is increasing, because during the first couple months of the year, we spend heavily on ads in order to rank the product more aggressively for certain keywords. And come this time of the year, we want to see that kind of materializing. So we can see that both the bucket hat and the sun hat have an organic rank that's slowly over time increasing and is now, I guess, close to 50% for both of them. Additionally, we can see that we've put a secondary metric on this chart. So this is organic units sold. And as you would expect, with organic percent going up, organic units sold is also going up. To get a second metric on the same chart, I'll just show you that real quick as long as we're here. You come into card settings, you go over to data series, and then you scroll down to secondary data series, and you can add or change this to whichever metric you want. I guess while we're there, I guess I'll kind of explain a little bit about customizing cards. So every card has, I guess, a few drop downs on the front of the card. This one is organic percent by product line. But if we wanted to customize this experience to look at something else, we can just click here and look at all the metrics that we can choose from. If I wanted to change this to, say, ACoS percent, I could do so. And in real time, that card will update to show ACoS percent for those product lines over that time period. Does that make sense?
Yes. And how often do you update the data from API?
So the data is updated every 3 hours. We're pulling it 3 times a day. And I guess the data is shown in whichever time grouping you want. So we have this time grouping setting here. It has some defaults depending on the time range of the chart, but you can update it to your liking. So scrolling down, this is a card that I kind of like to look at. I don't know how much actual value it has to making decisions about the business, but I love to see things broken out by primary variant. So in this business, we sell various, I guess, sun hat styles for children. And so I love to see which colors or styles our customers are buying and at what rate. So here we can see that people like the yellow duck, followed shortly by the strawberry and the shark. So this is just kind of a fun one that I like to look at and kind of see where our customers are, which of our styles our customers are preferring. One kind of way this can be used is if you see a big change out of nowhere, it's likely an indicator that you are probably going to have an inventory problem down the road. So if all of a sudden, this purple block that represents the purple penguin became like half of the chart. Look out, because most likely our inventory forecasts wouldn't have accounted for that. Scrolling down a little bit further, this is kind of case study 1B for this dashboard. So I'm guessing you're aware, but the Small and Light program increased their price threshold to $11.99 right around this time frame. So right around 1st of February of this year. So this product is eligible for Small and Light, but previously we had to have it priced at $9.89. So you can see in this chart, we have average price is the light blue line. And on February 1st, around that time, we updated the price to $11.99 from its former price of $9.89. So we were super curious about how this would affect our margin, which is also plotted in this chart. And it looks like it significantly increased our margin from being negative to being positive, which is obviously great. And then I guess I'll scroll down a little bit further and we'll look into a few more, I guess, details about how that change affected our business. One other thing I'll call attention to just quickly here. This is only for the Sun Hat product, not the Bucket Hat product. So I've applied an additional filter on this card. So we're only looking at the Sun Hat data. And I guess one more time, if you wanted to go do that, you can do that right here, adding just the Sun Hat as an additional filter. So some of the metrics that we wanted to keep an eye on for that price increase from $9.99 to $11.99 for the Baby Sun Hat. And we increased that price on February 4th. So I have now created a comparison card, which allows us to compare the same metric over multiple periods of time. And we've also filtered it down to just sponsored product ads. So I wanted to make sure that our ad conversion rate didn't plummet too much. So we see here that it went from, in the previous period, it was running at a 9.75% ad conversion rate, and we're down to an 8.32% ad conversion rate. I'm comfortable with that, so I'm not going to change the price back, but I will continue to monitor this and make sure it doesn't go, crazy in the other direction. One other thing we wanted to monitor was ad click-through rate. So understanding what percentage of people that see our ads for this product are clicking on them. And somewhat surprisingly, I think it's probably due a bit to seasonality, but we didn't actually see a decrease in our ad click-through rate despite increasing the price of the product. So that's kind of interesting. For a short period afterwards, it was relatively flat, and then it went up over time. And then the end-all be-all metric of all measurement, profit. So we wanted to see, so we made an additional card for profit for the Baby Sun Hat, and we expanded that date range out to this year, so we could see, I guess, if we were making money and how it changed with that price change. So again, here, this is where that price change happened, right in between week 5 and week 6. And we see that it made a pretty big difference in our ability to make profit on this product line. So I've got another case study I'd love to run through that'll, I guess, show kind of a different use case. This was mostly around tracking KPIs for a specific subset of your products. Next, I'd like to talk about kind of that accountability piece and how you may use Junglealytics to keep brand managers or agencies accountable to the metrics that you've agreed to hit.
So it will be a separate module or like a separate dashboard you can create for yourself?
So it's a separate dashboard. And I guess in terms of the dashboards, everything is fully customizable by the user. But we also offer a white glove setup service where we set up the dashboards on your behalf. So how that works is we'll, I guess, set up some time, interview brand managers or sellers, depending on the level of the organization, and get some details about what metrics they care about, how their catalog is structured, what metrics are important to them and what they're trying to achieve. And then we'll go as kind of the experts and build out a series of dashboards that would make sense for their business, and kind of work with them to get to a place where the Junglealytics dashboards are at a place where they're useful for them. Our self-service clients come in here and build dashboards all on their own. and we have success with both types of customers. So jumping into that next one, so I'm gonna not save the changes, but I'm gonna jump over here to our monthly monthly ad review. And so this is filtered down to our North American business for just our swim products. So I guess again, at the top here, you can see we've filtered down this dashboard to just the United States, Mexico, and Canada, so North America. And we've filtered it down to our Sunsuit product line, as well as our two other swim products, the two that were actually coincidentally also on the previous dashboard. So we'll come in here once a month. So this is for last month. So this is for February. And we'll review our metrics with our ad account manager. So the things we're looking for here, we want to see obviously an increase in profit. And this is a little bit unfair because we had a bit of a hiccup in January. So that number is coming from a negative profit on these product lines in January. We want to see relatively flat or up in ad spend, as well as a ROAS that's within the target that we've set for this time of the year for these products. So again, these products are in kind of like a pre-season rank mode. So a ROAS of 2.45 is probably on the edge of profitable for us and is exactly where we want to be. So we'd be kind of praising our ad account manager, saying, you're doing great. This looks like exactly what we want to see. We actually have our tacos percent for these product lines set between 15 and 20%, with the hats being a bit higher. So this number doesn't look bad to me for this point in time. And then we also want to make sure that our kind of advertising funnel isn't falling apart. Like our impressions haven't gone down or up tremendously. Our ad click-through rate is maintaining relatively consistent, and our ad conversion rate isn't changing too dramatically. So then we'll scroll down and we'll go into our profit by product line. So ultimately, why are we all here? We're trying to make profitable products on Amazon. And so in our ad agency review, one of the first cards we look at is profit by product line, just making sure that everything is going as we want it to be going. As you'll see here, we had a little bit of a hiccup. This was a listing issue, which we actually discovered because we were in here when it wasn't a meeting. There wasn't time to meet, but I was in here kind of looking around and I saw, oh, whoa, our profit really went off a cliff there. I wonder what happened. And it turned out our listing was pulled apart. So yeah, things like that will happen. And I guess one other thing I'll throw in there is we often see our clients use Junglealytics as a presentation tool. So they'll often be in meetings with their either account managers or brand managers, and the brand manager will often pull up Junglealytics, screen share, and just scroll through a dashboard and go through all of the top level metrics that the executives or whoever is their manager cares about seeing and is kind of wants to keep a pulse on. So in the I guess the next card that we'll look at shows you tacos by product line. So we filtered this dashboard again to just have 3 product lines on it. And so now we can see a trend line of each of those tacos numbers as they are changing over time. I'll just jump in here real quick and change the time grouping just for fun, just to give you guys an example. You can see that when we want to change how the data is grouped on the x-axis, it's as easy as just going into settings and changing the time grouping from week to day. And now we can see with a tacos number, that number is going to jump all over the place, of course, because somewhat inconsistent day to day. But now we can see how those trends are changing over time on a more granular level. Again, this time of the year for these products, we really care about the organic percent. Here we want to see this number going up over time. And it looks like specifically for the blue line here, the swimsuit, we're on a really good trend here. In the last week, we're all the way up to 66% organic, which if I was in my meeting with my account manager right now, I'd say maybe we want to actually up our ad spend on that. It's getting a little bit higher than I would like for this time of the year. This is another kind of, I guess, feature that we have where you can see each of how your ad spend is broken out by ad type, as well as ad filters for ad type. So you can see cards that have just one, two, or all three ad types. So here we can see for these products, we're not doing a ton of sponsored brand and sponsored display, which hasn't really been a focus for us. So it's not a surprise to me. But we always like to keep an eye on, I guess, at one point in time, we had an objective to kind of blow up our sponsored brands and sponsored display advertising. And this was a way where we could monitor if that was happening, and if so, how it was going. If we wanted to see, say, ROAS by ad type or ACoS by ad type, we could add another card that would have that data. In fact, I forgot that this was here. Here we have it, ROAS by ad type, right on schedule. So we can see that basically we're actually fairly flat between them. So I would actually suggest that maybe we should be spending more money on those other ad types to kind of see if we can boost the volume of sales via those ad types, given that they're performing at a relatively consistent rate. These next two cards are something I see in a lot of accounts, specifically that have color variations, flavor variations, or some other variation type that is that you can see on a search result page. So an example that would not be that is size. There's no way to determine what size someone wants from a search result page, but something like color is visual. And so like in the image on the search result page, you can, I guess, drive traffic based on the one that you're advertising, because within sponsored products, you're advertising a child ASIN, not a parent ASIN. So this will make a little more sense in a second, but this is showing us that the vast majority of our ad spend, in fact, around 75% of it, is between the yellow duck and the gray bear. You see that? So the yellow and the gray section here is about 75% of our ad spend and has been for the last 5 weeks. So then we can go down here and we can look at, all right, so we want to add conversion rate by primary variant. So this is showing us how well our ads are converting when the search result page ad is either the yellow duck or the gray bear. So I guess I'll throw a question to you. Which of these two would you rather have advertised given these two ad conversion rates? So I would suggest for the yellow duck, and I would say that because the conversion rate, the ad conversion rate for the yellow duck is trending around 6. And the ad conversion rate for the gray bear is trending around 3.5 or 4. So the difference there is pretty significant, like almost 100% if you like do that sort of math, or 3% if you do the absolute math. But with data of this nature, we'll suggest to our ad team, hey, this yellow section should probably be a lot of the gray section. And if we change that, how might our ad conversion rate as a whole change? I'm guessing it would go up, and I'm guessing the conversion rate of the page as a whole would go up. So this is something I see in a lot of the accounts that do our white glove onboarding service, where in there, and if they have a primary variant type that is visual in nature, or at least shows up on a search result page, it's actually uncommon that this is not going on. This is almost always an issue that is fairly easy to discover with Junglelytics and can create a ton of value in terms of increasing the conversion rate on your listing, as well as, I guess, ultimately increasing your profit. So I guess a couple last charts here. We like to look at, most of our ad spend is in the United States, and most of our sales is in the United States between these 3 countries, which I'm sure is true for most. But we don't like to neglect our friends in Canada and Mexico. And so we like to make sure that our tacos numbers in those regions aren't out of control, basically. And so at the end of our meeting, we'll monitor this, and then we'll sadly look at this chart where we see that we spend very little money advertising in those 2 regions, but we want to be able to keep an eye on it. So we keep this card at the bottom of this dashboard in order to be able to keep an eye on that. Any questions on that dashboard, or anything that you thought you might see? Yeah.
So it's more for international viewers. I see it's everywhere in dollars. Is it possible to like see in euros or other currencies?
Yep. So you can set your account setting to any number of currencies. Those two are included, and there's 10 or 15 others. And then there's a conversion that happens on all of your sales in all of your countries that would convert it to the master currency of the account. So here we have an EU listing update before and after. So recently we did a kind of listing overhaul in the EU and made a lot of our listings, I guess, localized in terms of the secondary images and the EBC. So having French in France, German in Germany, etc. So I've, I guess, been analyzing how that, I guess, affected our critical business metrics for those regions. So again, every dashboard starts with the filter bar. We filtered this to the EU4. The 4 countries that we translated the listings for. And then we filtered down to just one product line just to make the data a little bit less noisy. So here we have a sales comparison. So we uploaded the new content on February 1st, and we saw it was relatively flat. So this blue line is the previous period. So this is the day before this day. Does that make sense? So it was largely flat. And then I think the algorithms picked it up at some point, and conversion rates started to change, and we started to see a big lift about 7-8 days after we made that change. Similarly, we saw a similar increase in profit, and then our tacos number also went down. So all good across the board. I mean, I don't think this is going to surprise anyone. You make Germany listings in German, and all of a sudden things, start going in the right direction. But Junglelytics in this case has allowed us to quantify exactly how much of a change that made for our business. And it turns out it was massive. This is an interesting one. So when I was building this dashboard to analyze what was happening, when I picked this metric, I was a little surprised. So we can just do it again. So I picked organic percent, just kind of making this real. And then the data loaded, and I was like, wait a minute, organic percent is basically flat, if not down. I would have expected it to have increased in a similar fashion. But if you really think about it, organic percent doesn't really change when you change the details of your listing. That's all kind of upstream in like advertising metrics. So it actually makes total sense that this one is flat. And then the last one we wanted to look at was comparing how margin was behaving beforehand, and then how our margin is now. And so we saw an increase of 18% in our margin from before and after this test. Those are the 3, I guess, dashboards that I wanted to show. And I guess just to kind of drive home the point, every dashboard, I guess, as a Junglelytics customer, you can have as many dashboards as you want. And then every dashboard is fully customizable with as many cards as you want. So you can create as many cards as you want in any dashboard that will show you any number of views of your business. And yeah.
All right. So many dashboards. My, of course, question is, do you have like kind of templates which new user can preload? I know you are offering service to set up the dashboards, but maybe it would be useful to have like a templates to load?
Yep. So when you log into your account for the first time, after connecting your seller account and then waiting a few hours for the data to load, you'll be preset with a bunch of dashboards that should be helpful for your business. Don't require the white glove onboarding service.
So basically your kind of onboarding service could be useful for what kind of Amazon sellers who know what they want, but they don't get in these standard dashboards?
So I guess our typical clients for the white glove service come in 2 sizes. One is they don't have time. So they want someone else to do it for them because they don't want to invest the time and energy to go do it themselves. The other type of customer that signs up for the white glove onboarding service is someone who wants some advice onto how to run their business and what they should care about. So I've been running Amazon businesses for 9 years, and I'm currently the person who does the white glove onboarding service. So in signing up for that service, you basically get to borrow my brain for a few hours to look inside your business and build dashboards that hopefully are useful for you to, I guess, grow your business and ultimately grow your profitability.
All right. So let's look at the pricing of your tool to understand how and what it depends.
So this is our pricing page. We have, I guess our pricing is based on the size of your business. So for anyone who does under 150 orders per day on Amazon, their price is $49, and then it goes up from there. Additionally, we have the white glove onboarding service, which is $500. But we have a special promotion for Orange Click viewers, where the first 5 signups that we get with the Orange Click coupon code, which Augustus will tell us about later, I'm guessing, will get actually free white glove onboarding service included in their plan. And then additionally, any annual plan. So if you sign up for a yearly plan, one, you get 2 months off. And then secondly, the white glove onboarding service is included for free for anyone who signs up for a plan.
So you have already a very extensive functionality. What other features you are planning to introduce to your users in the near future?
Yeah, so currently we have data around sales, profit, and advertising. And over time, we're going to add traffic, search rank, BSR, inventory, and many other metrics. So any metric that you can think of that an Amazon business owner may care about will be coming to the product relatively soon. Additionally, we currently have the ability to filter by region, product line, and variation, but we'll be adding various additional filters over time, including the price that you sell the item at, what brand it's associated with, the seller account it's associated with. For keyword metrics, we'll also be adding filters for those keywords. So you can build dashboards that are specific to a filter or to a keyword or set of keywords. And then you can see ad metrics that are based on only advertising clicks that were associated with a keyword or set of keywords. And then last but not least, we have all sorts of different card types that we're going to be adding into the product over time. So as I scrolled down the dashboard, you saw the different cards that hold the data. At some point, we'll be adding tables, projections, heat maps, maps of the world where you can see where your customers are purchasing your products from, as well as many others.
Interesting. You mentioned heat maps in the websites. Heat map means you can see where people click with the mouse. What do you mean in your case?
So a heat map in our case is like a 2x2 grid with status data for a specific metric. So one example would be offer availability. So do you have an offer for these ASINs? Say that the x-axis might be primary variant and the y-axis might be secondary variant, and then you have a product line. And so you want to see, do I have an active offer for XYZ parent-child relationship in a grid? And then you could see, green and red squares as to where you have an FBA offer, where you have an FBM offer, and where you're the lowest price offer, all in one kind of visual.
All right. So a lot of interesting information you can pull from Junglealytics. Everything you see on Amazon data, Amazon dashboard, you can see here in Junglealytics in much more convenient and analytical way. I think it's very nice for people who like the numbers. And if you want to try this tool for yourself, check the link below in the description, and also the coupon code. I think it's Orange50, which will give you 50% off the 3 months once you start after the free trial period. So thank you very much, Tom, and good luck in your business. Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you.
If you feel that Junglealytics could be helpful for you to analyze your Amazon business information and data, check the link below in the description, and also the special offer with the coupon code Orange50. You can get 50% off for the first 3 months. And now I would like to invite you to watch other video which will help you to increase profitability by optimizing your listings. and making more conversions.